everyone. We're calling the meeting to order. This is the Town of Blythewood Planning Commission meeting agenda for May 4th, 2026. Put my glasses on. So, call to order by declaration of quorum. We have a quorum, so can we get a roll call?
Yes, sir, Mr. Vice Chair. Thank you. Katasha Hyacinth.
Present.
Travis Smith. Nikki Schaffner.
Present.
Marcus Taylor.
Here.
Al McClern. Jamal Mosley. Bill Tomes.
Here.
Okay.
All right, we have called agenda, called a roll call. We have a quorum. So let me see, notice of posting of the agenda, was that done?
Yes, sir, it was posted. Yes, sir.
All right, posted. So now would y'all join me in the pledging of allegiance? All right. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, approval of minutes. It was last meeting, the meetings was.
Yes, sir. Yeah, the minutes are in your agenda. So if y'all want to look over them, if you haven't had a chance already, any corrections, y'all let me know. If not, y'all can make a motion.
Yeah, I'd make a motion to accept the minutes as presented.
Second.
All right, yeah, I have a second, and so we will approve the minutes. All in favor, say aye.
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 All against, say nay. The ayes have it. All right, number 2, action items. We're going to a zoning map amendment for a resident district from, let me see, Rural 5, tax map number R12400-02-0-6. They're trying to do 60 acres. Who are the presentators for that?
Yeah, and I'll go ahead and read the memo out too, and then ask the applicant to come up and speak to us. So, yeah, as Mr. Vice Chair Taylor said, zoning map amendment, first one of this year, 2026-01-MA. Again, it's 60.6 acres. The applicant is South Fork Ventures, LLC, and they're requesting a zoning map amendment from the current rural designation to a general residential district, and they're requesting specifically R5. The total land area is approximately 60.5 acres. The Planning Commission's role in this application is to provide a recommendation to Town Council. In current zoning rule, proposed zoning district R5. I will read the definitions of both. The rural district is defined as this zoning district is intended to include areas with acreage, tracts, and agricultural, forestry, animal husbandry with pastures, barns, barnyards, corrals, pens, and associated facilities. Residential uses may included manufactured homes on individual lots, and limited commercial and service establishments are permitted. The proposed zoning district is R5. This district is for high-intensity residential purposes, including single-family detached units, duplexes, multifamily units, and manufactured homes on individual lots. Mobile home parks are permitted as special exceptions upon approval of the Board of Zoning Appeals. Certain uses to serve governmental, recreational, and religious needs are permitted. So the surrounding areas, and again, as if you were looking from a bird's eye view from above, to the north is rural, to the south is AG, Agricultural District. Do want to note that that's in Richland County's jurisdiction. To the east is also AG, Agricultural District, once again in Richland County's jurisdiction. And to the west is R40, Low Density Residential District. This property is currently wooded and vacant. The future land use map will be amended if this map amendment is approved by Town Council. And I'm not going to go through the entire chart, but commissioners, you do have it there in your packet. It lists all the R5 permitted uses. And then we have the conditional uses on there as well. And forgive me with that chart, I was battling the Microsoft Word application, couldn't get it perfect in there. And then the conditional uses. So again, the Planning Commission's role here tonight, you will take action and you'll make a recommendation that will be forwarded to the Town Council for the zoning public hearing on Tuesday, May 26, 2026. So again, tonight will be a recommendation to the Town Council. Tonight is not the public hearing. The public hearing will take place at the Town Council meeting. Again, Tuesday, May 26, 2026. And I want to note that it is Tuesday because that Monday is Memorial Day. So with that being said, we do have the applicants here as well as the property owner. And if you want to come up to the podium, we can get started.
Thank you, Commissioners. My name is Brandon Pridemore. I'm with Arjo Harrison Associates. We're the consultant civil engineer on the project. I have with me tonight, this is Tristan Walliser. He's a big boy, played football, so you probably don't tell, but he is the land acquisition manager for Southport Ventures. And then we do have an attendance tonight as well. We got Jeff Brown, the broker for the property for this variant, and we have Rebecca Varian, the property owner, here tonight. So we're here to answer any questions from any of us, but I'm going to do just a quick short presentation. But first off, Mr. Wilson did a good job of summarizing. You know, it's roughly over 60 acres. We are seeking R5. Different reasons for that. We'll go over those shortly. If you don't, he's been trying to pull up the PowerPoint here, but I gave you the package of what the PowerPoint's going to look like, but just kind of wanted to start off on the rezoning concept, which is a little different than the package you probably originally got. But what we wanted to do is just kind of give you a vision of what we think the property could look like if we're able to get R5. This is strictly single-family detached, so we're not proposing multifamily. We don't want townhomes or anything of that nature. Doesn't fit the character, nor do I think the town would ever support that. I know even the R5 may have a little bit of hesitation, but when we look at the overall proximity of the project, as soon as we get to that slide, you know, it's going to kind of make sense as we look at it. Scout has really changed the dynamics of this area, of what's happening. You know, a couple properties were rezoned last year. There's a few more rezonings that are going to go on in the county this year. And so what we're trying to do is, how do we fit this in to everything that's happening around there, but be sensible and reasonable about it? Now, the reason we like the R5 is that we wanted to create kind of an open space subdivision, if you will, and this is the vision of what we have. So, you know, the request for you tonight is just to make a recommendation to R5. This is based on R5 cluster conservation, which would require BZA approval at a later date as well. So another layer for us to get through. But R5 in generality, it wouldn't look a whole lot different from this. But what we wanted to do was preserve as much of the open space as we can. Sitting in with Mr. Wilson, you know, he was pushing for, you know, larger lots and whatnot. So, well, that didn't quite work for us, but, you know, what if we protect environmental areas, you know, create conserve open space, save trees, and I think he slowly kind of understood the concept of what we're doing. So I think this is a great visualization. If you look at 60 acres, we're looking at an existing pond. It's going to stay untouched. It's going to be used as an amenity for our site. Just kind of covering through the amenity points. We wanted to provide a pond overlook here. Is it on? I think I hear it. Yeah. So create a pond overlook here. We're going to provide some natural surface trails. The topography is a little bit steep, so, you know, but we wanted to provide defined pathways that link in from this future road connection here all the way into the site, as well as additional trails up here, and then we're going to propose a dog park up here in this area here and kind of conserve that area, you know, just kind of fit it into the landscape, not clear cut it, but we're going to select clear just to make it a viable amenity. But as you look at it, one of the unique things that we don't see a whole lot of a lot of times in subdivisions today is just the open space effect. But literally every lot in here backs up to open space. There are no back-to-back lots being proposed. We want that feel of, yes, it's a small lot when you look at the grand scheme of things, but when you sit on the back patio, you're not going to be staring at your neighbor, you know, on their patio right behind you. Everyone's going to be looking at, you know, some kind of wooded vegetation behind them. So we wanted that open space feel. And the big thing was not to push development where we really don't want to. Could we have done more and got more lots? Absolutely, but that's not really what we thought was the best use of the property. If you can go back one slide, we're going to go back one page and just kind of give you a vicinity map. And as you can see on the vicinity map, I don't actually have those, but you can see up on the north middle there, that's the Scout plant. As you see, as Ms. Schaffner had mentioned earlier, how big it is. It really is extremely big. The stars, what we're talking about, where the Berrien property is. So, you know, we're surrounding gently, you know, with development support for what we think Scouts housing needs are going to be as we go in the future. And then as well, too, to me, this is a great location because we'll have direct access to Fulmer Road, and we got a lot of different ways. We don't necessarily have to get to I-77. You know, we have the opportunity to get to 321 Windsboro Highway. We have Fulmer Road going down into Wilson Highway. So there's alternate ways to get into Columbia. We think this is going to support, again, the Scout industries and things that are surely to come along with Scout, as well as people, you know, moving are working in Columbia, that area as we look at it. All right, if we can go 2 slides. There we go. And those are kind of the visualization of the amenities we're talking about. If you look in the upper left corner, that's kind of how we're going to kind of fit in that natural surface trail. Again, we wanted to have a defined trail, not just a hey, go here type thing. We will cut in trails, but we want to save as many trees as we can, so we want to be mindful of the environment as we look at it. To the right, that's kind of our visualization of what the dog park would look like. Again, select clear, save as many trees as we can, and just open it up enough to be, 1, safe and secure, and 2, it looked like an actual amenity rather than just a bunch of woods if we look at it. All right, Kirk, we can advance one more. And this is kind of what we had envisioned for the pond amenity, whether that's a gazebo, pergola, or pavilion down here, which is right in here. We wanted to be able to create a nice overlook, thin out the underbrush, you know, save all the larger trees that are around the pond, and make that a usable amenity that will be enjoyable for the residents that are there. Next slide. And again, we're not a building company. South Fork isn't, so we will be looking for a building partner. We've talked to a couple, but they weren't, to us, the right people. We're looking for us, kind of an elevated builder, if you will, being this is Blythewood. I think the expectations are a little bit higher, but we want a builder who isn't going to have just a basic, simple, you know, either hip or gabled roof. We want double gables. We want dormers. You know, we want all these things, breaks in elevation as we look at it. We want mixed materials on the front. We want a builder with, you know, no vinyl siding, hardy as a base, you know, those type of things. So it's just kind of a variety of architecture of what we're looking at. Not sure if ranches will be there, but, you know, we don't want to exclude them because a lot of people do like ranch homes these days. All right, next one. And the same thing, we wanted to kind of give you our thoughts of what we're envisioning for the interiors. You know, we're not looking for plain walls. We're looking for buildings that are going to offer different options interior, you know, marble, granite, you know, those type of things for the countertops. We look for people who are going to offer molding, tray ceiling opportunities. It won't be every room, but, you know, certain rooms like living rooms and sometimes bedrooms like to have that recessed, can lights, you know, different lights, fixtures, you know, looking for those type of things. And places that are efficient and roomy feeling, places where people can enjoy and actually be able to gather and enjoy their homes. Okay, next. And that was it. And the other thing that we kind of wanted to bring up too is that, you know, we think with this project and with interconnectivity to the project below, one of the things that we heard, and we had met with the people of Abney Estates a couple different times, is that they're locked in with one entrance. They got 350 homes, or they will have 350 homes on one entrance. This would give them an opportunity to get a second access, if not even more. We're currently in discussions with adjacent property owners and other developers that are working in the area, trying to get interconnectivity, and we think we can get those aligned, assuming their rezonings go through and things like that. But we, at the very least, will have more access to Fulmer. They'll have at least an emergency route to Mount Valley Road down to Swigert, but we're working on those things, trying to get that all locked into place as we speak. So we think that it'll be a benefit, especially to people out in the States, to give them that relief, which is something we heard over and over when we've met with those folks. Jump on it.
Craig, can you go back to the second slide? And thank y'all again for your time. main concern. And of course, one more. Yep, that one right there. So with traffic being the main concern, right, as we look at it from a bird's eye view, of course with Scout bringing in 4,500 new employees, hopefully current local residents, as well as some people, moving to the community. High level thinking is to minimize traffic. What's the best way to do that with something as massive as Scout? You want to develop near the site. Well, as the crow flies, it's about a quarter mile, and then as the road infrastructure lies, it's probably about a mile, maybe a mile and a half. And so in our mind, and of course, we really want to make sure that we're catering to the local residents, but being so close to Scout is going to minimize the traffic and give people a place to live close to work, rather than, if you're building more homes on the other side of Blythewood proper over this way, or you're going down towards Wilson and things of that nature. Now you're just causing that traffic to go even further out, and it's going to only make it more congested in other areas, rather than keeping it local towards Scout and really trying to minimize the traffic impact that Scout has had and will continue to have in the local area. So that's one of the key things that we heard, and we really took to heart, because I live out in Lake Wiley, Clover area. He's in Fort Mill, and so we've experienced it, and we've watched what that looks like as it relates to smart development and putting it in the right areas. And we believe that this location is the perfect spot for something like what we're proposing. So.
Yeah, and if I could just clarify too, back to the concept plan. When we talk about the zoning, R5, I know, again, is the highest density that you can get. But when we look at it, to do a comparison, if you look at Avenue Hills, they have almost 350 homes there. Their density is a little over 1.5 units an acre with larger lots, similar to a lot of what you want. We're proposing a very similar density. If we were able to get the cluster, which is an additional step past R5, we're only at 1.6 units an acre. So it's very comparable, but what you do get in exchange, again, is a lot of conserved area. If you look at the Avenue Hill site, they probably didn't conserve but maybe 12–15% of the land that was untouched. We're going to be have at least 50% or more of our land be untouched, and then even more than that, that'll be in permanent open space afterwards. So when we look at density, it's not that we're just trying to pile up and get the maximum density we can. We're just trying to be smart and reasonable. But we're here.
How many homes do they have, did you say?
What's that?
How many homes do they have?
Out here, so the gross density on this is about 1.6 units an acre. So it's, this plan is based on about 97 homes.
So I do just want to echo what Brandon had said, and we have met with Brandon and Tristan on multiple occasions over the last, since Christmas maybe, thereabouts, and he is correct when I was not keen initially on what they're proposing, but after a couple more meetings, and as you just heard from Brandon and Tristan, and I think, correct me if I'm wrong here, but about 40 of the 65 acres is looking to be preserved.
That's correct. Yep.
So, that's about 2/3 of the land that they are actually going to preserve. And while, again, not trying to influence anybody's decision, but, while the R5 isn't ideal in a perfect world, it certainly makes sense with what they're trying to do. So I just wanted to state that. And on top of it, they've been very easy to work with, and very receptive to comments and adaptations. So I just wanted to comment on that. Thank you.
Yeah, no, I just want to state for the record, too, I don't know if there's a mechanism. It's usually not here at the planning commission level. Maybe it's a city council level. But when we look at it, the concerns of what the other uses, there's a big plethora of them. I mean, we're willing to commit to some kind of agreement or anything like that, whether it's a voluntary condition. I don't know what state law allows down here. We've seen different things done in where we're from, the York County area. But we're willing to commit to that single-family detached as our only use. That way you don't have to worry about, hey, are they going to try to put townhomes in there? Are they going to try to do multifamily? We're not going to do any of that stuff. So that's something we can investigate, and Kurt can maybe bring it to the county's attorney just to talk about it. But we're willing to commit to something like that just to assure you that we don't have an underlying theme here besides what we're presenting tonight. Questions?
What is that zone for now? R12?
Yeah, it's currently zone rule.
Are you?
It's currently zone rule, RU.
RU?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so a lot of this area is zoned, whether it's the town, it's RU, or the county, it's AG. But, you know, the county's recognizing this is no longer an agricultural area with everything that's happening. And so luckily this isn't like an overly huge project. I know approximately 100 homes is still a big project in a lot of ways, but compared to what's happening and what has happened, you know, we're just trying to fit the piece of the puzzle that makes sense and provide that interconnectivity.
I'm trying to understand what the grayed out homesteads are on that other side that aren't in yellow highlighted.
This here,
Correct.
this is an adjacent property. So this was rezoned last year. The county is R3. And so,
That's R3.
yes, ma'am.
I'm not sure what R3 is.
So the county's zoning map lied to me then, because when I looked it up for my memo, it still said AG.
It still says AG. It was zoned R3 about a year ago.
But now that you say that, I remember that. But yeah, I'll have to talk to them down there.
Yeah, there's a lot of the zoning maps haven't been updated for whatever reason.
Yes.
But yes, it was zoned R3 down here, so what we're doing is.
And I think y'all had told me that, now that I think about it, in one of our meetings.
So does that fit into the master plan?
But R3 is a 50-foot up to, I believe they have a pretty high, it's like 6 units an acre allowed. Can you get
That's
that?
a lot.
You can,
Density cap is 6 units per acre, allows for single-family detached homes, duplexes, triplexes, or quadruplexes. Lot size is minimal of 6,000 square feet, usually with a 60-foot lot frontage, and that's all that I see in this.
So it sounds like it's similar
Very similar.
Two.
very similar, yes.
to the R5.
Mhm.
Now, I will say, I don't think that the county or developer will be preserving as much land as what our applicants are proposing here tonight. I would love to be wrong, but I don't think that they will.
Well, the question that provokes my brain is, when you do get a developer or a home builder in there, will they want to alter the plan further?
So our plan is that we're going to take it all the way through engineered approvals, and so the plan will be set. And again, if there's certain elements that we present that there's a way that we can make those commitments firmed up with town council, we'll be glad to do so. I just don't know what is or what isn't allowed. In North Carolina, it's like the Wild West. We make agreements all over the place. South Carolina's a little bit more structured than that.
Yeah.
So I'd have to defer to Mr. Wilson to see what his advice is, for council as to what we can voluntarily agree to and actually have conditioned on the plan.
Yeah, and I cannot think of an example to draw back on where we have approved a zoning and we've applied conditions to that zoning, whether it be at the planning commission level or the town council level. Having said that, though, I do believe that there is some wiggle room to place a condition on there. But I do want to stop short of saying anything else, because I would like to speak to the town attorney about this, given that, again, I don't have any other example to fall back on. But I do think there's a possibility to put a condition or two on this, depending on what it is.
And the other thing too that I'll mention is all land's not made the same, right? So you have the topography, you have streams, you have the pond, of course. So, and this is more Brandon's wheelhouse, but how you engineer sites, how you engineer a site based on those things. And in order to alter that, you really have to do such massive site work that it wouldn't make sense financially. So typically when you do a site plan like this, Brandon's extremely good at what he does. It's pretty spot on to not only what we put there, but what would be able to be put there, if that makes sense.
How to build it.
Right, to be able to give you all some more comfort on the fact that this wouldn't change, so.
And Marcus, you had asked me about, does it fit in the master plan? It does, residential does. Now, I can't say specifically if it lists R5, but I'm pretty sure it does. Now, again, to be fair, I will say that, in my memo, I think it was to the west, is R40, a lower density But again, I think this is a little different because if it gets passed, they're saving 2/3 of the land. The low-density project across the street, Ashley Oaks, did not save. They did a good job of saving trees, but they did not save a lot of open space in that neighborhood.
Yeah, did anybody from Ashley Oaks, I guess, didn't come even to say anything about yes or no, if they wanted it or not, right?
Yeah, and again, the public hearing will be at the town council meeting, so certainly, I think that there will be some people present at that meeting. Whether they're for or against it, we'll see, but, yeah, so.
Yeah, 'cause my thought process is the smaller lots across from the bigger lots, so.
It's different than the R40. I agree with you there. And again, I don't have a vote, but
I got you.
I think that I just really like the idea of them saving 2/3 of the land. That's my own opinion. Again, I don't have a vote or a say, but and I kind of had a hard time wrestling with the R5 because I know it is higher density, but 97 lots, less than 100 lots. I might have a different tune if it was 350 again. And they did save the pond. I didn't necessarily have to twist their arm, but they are saving the pond, and they're going to incorporate the pond as kind of a feature of the neighborhood. As you saw in one of their slide decks, putting a gazebo out there, maybe a fishing dock or something. I mean, that can be decided at a later time, but they are willing to add some amenities around the pond.
And just to reiterate, that's the big reason why we really wanted to make this smaller lots, is to be able to use the common area open space, right? Because as Kurt made a very valid, great point, we've been doing this a really long time, and anytime we do have to get into building larger lots, you're now unable to value engineer the site like you can with smaller lots like this, and you cannot necessarily preserve as much common area open space and keep it usable. So as much as there may be larger lots, there's less usable space for the community. Whereas if you see here, if I can step over this way, we pointed it out already, but you got the nature walking trail here around this existing pond that stems down here to this cul-de-sac, as well as connects up here to this dog park. So we're really trying to do our best to make sure that all the common area open space is usable. Of course, there is some stuff that, just based on topography, sure, if people go down there and play by the stream, they're more than welcome to. But to be able to actually get a nature trail down towards this side it would probably just wash away with the first storm. So we really try to do our best with that, as well as as Brandon pointed out, making sure that none of these lots back up to other lots. So it really, as much as lots are a little bit smaller, it really gives you the feel that when you're in your backyard, you have some type of preservation and open space.
How about the parking? I saw, one car per?
No, it'll be a two-car driveway, two-car garage scenario. And then one of the things too, I failed to mention, but I think it's a really good point as we look at it, is as we look at the open space and buffering, who are the people most impacted? Was the people directly adjacent? Well, the directly adjacent people is going to be Miss Barion's family. They know this is coming. They're here in support of it. They're going to keep these lots that are next door, and so we got additional buffer through their lots that are going to be preserved. So again, when we look at to the south, this is already approved for some kind of development already down here. Very similar to what we're proposing, but much larger. We've got Barians that live here, and then down here, this is the Kaiser tract that's created a firestorm I think last fall, and they're currently going for rezoning in the county. So immediate neighbors are really not going to be impacted.
All right. And it's, I guess, on-street parking if you can't get in the driveway.
There won't be any on-street parking. We're currently working with Richland County Public Works. I actually have a meeting with them to kind of talk about standards and how we're going to build this thing, and just make sure what kind of road section that we're going to have, because we're working with them, thinking long-term, what's this going to look like. So, to their credit, they're starting to think long-term instead of project by project.
All right. Okay, we just here to recommend if you guys should go to R5. Any other questions from the?
That's correct, yep.
Get them
motion?
Yeah, I'll make a motion. With conditions, I guess, suppose, that we can change some things if it don't turn out to be like it need to be, I suppose.
Public comment is later. You're not gonna have public comment before the vote.
Is there anybody who wishes to sign up? I
I
see
don't
you.
think nobody,
Sign up, but I have a question.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
No problem.
Are these numbers and placement of these homes, is that set in stone with the vote, or could there be more homes?
Nothing is set in stone with the vote tonight, since it's being recommended to town council.
It's just changing the zoning so that they could put more homes on than, say, Abney Hills, which is R12, or,
R40?
no,
No,
they're R12.
R20. Well, now you got me.
I looked it up before and it
Okay.
said R12, yeah.
Is it R12?
It was just as R5. Could you put more homes or change the placement?
I mean,
Yeah,
technically, yes.
yeah.
As the developer said, and I'm not going to speak for him, but I'd like to think that I'm taking them for their word when they say that they are not going to add more homes to this. And certainly if they go before the planning commission, if it gets approved for the preliminary plat, once the preliminary plat is done, then that's it.
And if I can interject, so to give you a little bit of background about South Fork Ventures, so I actually work with my father, we're a family-owned company, and that means the world to me, just like Miss Rebecca Berry's leaving a legacy for her family. I'm just now starting out, I'm 27, I plan on being in this industry for the rest of my life, and it's a pretty small industry, so, you know, your word is your bond, and I stand on that. So when we say we're not gonna put anything other than single-family residential there, we're not gonna put anything other than single-family residential. That's our bread and butter, that's what we love and what we do best. So just to give you some more comfort about kind of what kind of man I am, what kind of company we are, and what our ultimate vision and goal is for the company as well as the projects we do, so.
But to answer this lady's question, again, if there's a mechanism or conditions that we can voluntarily agree to, I've seen that done. If the town attorney says that's valid, then we'll be glad to do that. We'll commit, this is the most homes you're gonna ever see, you know, and again, this still, what you see tonight doesn't mean we can get this, you know, we're just asking for R5. R5 isn't gonna be as dense as this is. So it'll be less density, but we're willing to agree to those limits and conditions that we've kind of talked about tonight if there's a mechanism to do so. Otherwise, Mr. Wilson's right. You gotta take us at our word, but I can tell you, we've never backtracked on anything we've proposed.
And again, the preliminary plat will come back to planning commission.
That can be brought up.
Right, and we can certainly then, and I will say, I don't have experience in the council adding conditions to a rezoning, to my knowledge. But the planning commission, I do believe, can absolutely add a condition to their preliminary plat. What that be, is up for y'all to determine. But again, it's something that I need to have a conversation with the town attorney about to see what we can and can't do. But at tonight's meeting, tonight isn't the time that we're placing any sort of conditions. Again, just want to be clear, it's a recommendation to town council, and town council can agree with the planning commission or disagree. I've seen it happen both ways.
So the grayed out section that's not green, yeah, the existing for Richland County and their change of zoning in that space, would that also be under your plan overall, or is that another developer?
No, that is South Fork, so we rezoned that. But we're
Okay.
still contemplating what we're gonna do, but we had a concept, we actually had our town hall right here in this room about a year and a half ago. And so, a lot of people showed up for that, but we were able to get that successfully rezoned. But again, I think going back to this discussion that we're having here is if we are able to get a favorable recommendation from you and council sees fit to support that, then we've got to come back before you in a matter of months and look you straight in the eye and say, hey, here's what we propose, you know, we got to keep our word.
So I'm going to make a motion that the planning commission recommends the town council that the zoning map be amended from RU to R5.
I'll second that.
All right, with a recommendation and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Say aye. Aye.
4
All
ayes.
opposed? All opposed? All right, the ayes have it.
What's that?
I say the ayes have it.
Yep. Motion carries 4-0. And again, just to be clear, once again, this is just recommendation to town council. Town council will hear it on Tuesday, May 26th. It'll be on the agenda. And these gentlemen will be, I'm sure, back here that night to speak on it again and give a similar presentation. Is there anybody, and I'm asking because there's only a few people out in the audience, but is there anybody that signed up for the public comment section that wishes to speak?
All right. With that said, make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Second?
I'm sorry. Say, I got a second, so meeting adjourned.
Meeting adjourned. Thank y'all.
Thank y'all for coming out.
Good job.
Yeah, I have to say, Mr. Taylor's a natural.
Yeah, good job for